On October 2nd, 1869, in the small coastal town of Porbandar in British India, a boy was born who would one day change the course of history. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, later known to the world as Mahatma Gandhi, would become the face of India's struggle for independence and the symbol of non-violence. His life was a journey filled with transformation, perseverance, and an unwavering belief in truth. Gandhi was born into a Hindu family, his father Karamchand serving as the Diwan or Chief Minister of Porbandar. His mother, Putlabai, was deeply religious, and her influence would leave a lasting mark on the young Mohandas. From her, he learned the importance of faith, vegetarianism, and compassion for others. In 1888, at the age of 18, Gandhi left for London to study law at University College London. This marked a turning point in his life. In England, he struggled with homesickness, but began to adopt the ways of the Western world. Yet, even as he donned English suits and embraced European customs, he never abandoned his roots. After completing his law studies, Gandhi returned to India in 1891, but his attempts to establish a law practice failed. The confident young lawyer found himself struggling in the complexities of Indian courts. His destiny, however, lay beyond the courtroom. In 1893, an opportunity took Gandhi to South Africa, a British colony like India, where he went to assist a local businessman in a legal matter. It was here that his political awakening began. One of the most pivotal moments of his life came during a train journey in Pietermaritzburg, where he was forcibly removed from a first-class compartment despite holding a valid ticket. This incident ignited a fire within him. Gandhi realized that the discrimination he faced was not an isolated incident, but part of a systemic injustice against Indians and other people of color in South Africa. He decided to stay and fight for the rights of his fellow Indians. Over the next 21 years, Gandhi would develop the principles that would guide his future struggles: satyagraha, or truth force, the idea of non-violent resistance. Through marches, strikes, and civil disobedience, Gandhi led the Indian community in South Africa to challenge oppressive laws. His campaigns resulted in several concessions from the British authorities. This experience shaped Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence as a powerful tool to resist injustice. In 1915, Gandhi returned to India. Now a seasoned activist with a growing reputation, he was welcomed as a hero. But India was a land under the yoke of British colonialism, and Gandhi was determined to transform his homeland. India, a nation of villages, was steeped in poverty, famine, and suffering under colonial exploitation. In 1920, Gandhi launched the Non-Cooperation Movement, a nationwide campaign urging Indians to boycott British goods, institutions, and taxes. The movement galvanized the nation, uniting people across religious, caste, and regional lines. Gandhi believed that peaceful resistance could cripple the colonial government, and for a time, it seemed to be working. The non-cooperation movement was met with repression, but Gandhi insisted on maintaining non-violence. However, in 1922, after a violent clash in Chauri Chaura, where protesters killed policemen, Gandhi abruptly called off the movement, unwilling to compromise on his principle of non-violence. He was arrested and imprisoned for 2 years. In 1930, Gandhi launched another iconic act of resistance, the Salt March. The British had imposed a salt tax, forcing Indians to buy British salt while outlawing the local production of it. Gandhi's response was to march to 140 miles from his ashram to the Arabian Sea to make salt himself, defying the British law. As World War II raged on, Gandhi launched the Quit India movement in 1942, demanding an end to British rule. His slogan was simple: do or die. The British responded with brutal repression, imprisoning Gandhi and thousands of others. Despite his imprisonment, the call for independence grew louder, and by the end of the war, it was clear that British rule was unsustainable. On August 15, 1947, after decades of struggle, India finally achieved independence. But Gandhi's dream of a united India was shattered by the partition that created two nations, India and Pakistan. The partition led to mass violence and the displacement of millions. Gandhi was heartbroken, spending his last days in an effort to bring peace between Hindus and Muslims. On January 30, 1948, at the age of 78, Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated by a Hindu nationalist, Nathuram Godse, who opposed Gandhi's calls for peace with Muslims. As Gandhi fell, his last words were reportedly he ran, invoking God. India and the world mourned the loss of a man who had become the moral compass of an entire nation.